Bhagavatam ki. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Brahma's Prayers to Lord Krishna, text number 19. Ajānatāṁ tvam-padavīm anātmani. ātmātmanā bhāsi vitatya māyām. sṛṣṭāv ivāhaṁ jagato vidhāna. Tvam eṣaḥ trinetraḥ. Ajānatāṁ, to persons who are in ignorance. Tvat-padavīm, of your transcendental position. Anātmani, in the material energy. Ātmā, yourself. ātmanā, by yourself. Bhāsi, appear. Vitatya, expanding. Māyām, your inconceivable energy. sṛṣṭāv, in the matter of creation. Ivāhaṁ, as if. Aham, I, Brahmā. Jagato, of the universe. Vidhāne, in the maintenance. Ivāhaṁ, as if. Tvam, eṣaḥ, yourself. Ante, in the annihilation. Ivāhaṁ, as if. Trinetraḥ, Lord Shiva. Translation and purport by the followers of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. To persons ignorant of your actual transcendental position, you appear as part of the material world, manifesting yourself by the expansion of your inconceivable energy. Thus, for the creation of the universe, you appear as me, Brahmā. For its maintenance, you appear as yourself, Vishnu. And for its annihilation, you appear as Lord Trinetra, Shiva. Responsibly? To persons ignorant of your actual transcendental position, you appear as part of the material world, manifesting yourself by the expansions of your inconceivable energy. Thus, for the creation of the universe, you appear as me, Brahmā. For its maintenance, you appear as yourself, Vishnu. And for its annihilation, you appear as Lord Trinetra, Shiva. Purport. Although the impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers think that the demigods are illusory, Lord Brahmā, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu are stated here to be expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are thus real. Indeed, they are the extraordinarily powerful controllers of the universe. The ultimate truth is a supreme and beautiful person, and thus throughout the creation of God, we will always find the personal touch. Om Ajānatām Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharane. Hare Krishna. So here we're hearing Lord Brahmā, the creator of the universe, empowered, and he's expressing his appreciation of the Supreme Lord and how it is that people who are conditioned in this material world, meaning all of us, in this material world, we're covered by the darkness and ignorance of false ego, of a misconception or misidentification with the body to be our true self. Whereas we're eternal spiritual beings, nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The living entity is brilliant, eternal, full of bliss, full of knowledge, and every living being has that spark. We are that eternal spiritual being. And we come from the spiritual world. There are many philosophers and many theories about what is the purpose and goal of life, who is God, and how to achieve that goal. But unfortunately, due to improper guidance, and again, without having this opportunity to hear from God, Krishna himself in the form of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna personally is speaking the absolute truth. Why? Because out of love and compassion. Krishna is a person. Everything has a personal touch. Sometimes people, they ask, why was the material world created in the first place? As we heard yesterday, that this material existence is here to facilitate all the living entities' desires. Because Krishna has unlimited spiritual desires, and we hear how in Vrindavan he has a loving relationship with Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, how he has a relationship with all his cowherd friends. He plays like a little child, bewilders Lord Brahmā, to the point of Brahmā thinking, how can this be the Supreme Lord? The creator of everything, the one who is emanating all the universes from the pores of his skin, unlimited millions, billions, trillions of universes are manifesting. So many planets, so many luminaries. Why? Why all of this is coming? Because Krishna is unlimited. Our ability to try to understand by mental speculation, by our own efforts, or by following the teachings of so-called scientists or learned professors or books of knowledge, of philosophy, psychology, creation, or Darwin's speculations. So all these are very called futile attempts. There's no real progress being made. But the material world is like that. Just like the illusion in the desert that you're thirsty. Isn't it? The sun is beating down. You're in a desert and you want water. So this is the whole idea that we want happiness in this world. Everyone's looking for happiness. And we're thinking that my happiness is that if I can gratify my senses, I'll be happy. If I become very wealthy, I'll be happy. If I have a good partner and children and many possessions, I'll be happy. But unfortunately, everyone who's embodied, that's all of us, it's an amalgamation of material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence. False ego is molded to have this body. Here it is, demigod body, human body, animal body. And it's not only that humans are attracted by this desire for love and attraction, just like a a boy is dedicated to a young girl dedicated to a boy, because that natural attraction is a reflection of Krishna's true love, not in the mundane concept, just like we hear about how Krishna is having loving affairs with the gopis, or even the wives of the brahmanas who are performing sacrifices. Not in the concept that we might think, like in this material world, ultimately leads to frustration and agitation, but real love from the heart, real excitement. So this is going on in the spiritual world. Krishna has a personal relationship with everyone. And there's different varieties in life, 8,400,000 varieties of species as described in Vedic literature. Aquatics, human beings, beasts, demigods, trees, and a variety of animals, bugs. Every living entity is an eternal spirit soul and has a very unique relationship with Krishna. So Lord Brahma is seeing Krishna with all the cowherd boys sitting on the bank of the Jamuna. They're all taking their lunch together, having jokes, having fun. And so someone might think, how is this God? A little cowherd boy? In the same way, we'll hear how Lord Indra was being baffled. Soon Govardhan Leela is coming, when all the cowherd men and various people are making offerings to the demigods, and Lord Krishna is asking, is this a ritual or just some kind of tradition that you're following to worship the demigods? Because Krishna did not like that his, especially pure devotees, are giving so much significance to the worship of the demigod. And Krishna gave some philosophy that based on your good karma, if you do good work, then nature is duty-bound to give you all your necessities because you did your good work. If you do bad work, you're going to suffer. This is Mamamsa philosophy. But he convinced Nanda Maharaj and all the cowherd boys that no, you should worship Govardhan Hill, because Govardhan is providing all your necessities, and the Lord manifested himself as Govardhan. So Krishna's appearing in this world repeatedly. After creating the material world, there are scheduled times of his incarnations. In Bhagavad Gita, there's a description that in one day of Brahma, the Lord ascends. That's millions and millions of years. That's a long, long time. So the time came, very coincidentally, that the Supreme Lord's time to incarnate is Lord Krishna, 5,000 years ago. All the constellations, the stars, everything became arranged in such an auspicious way. And Krishna, there's so many incarnations, Lord Vamana, Matsya, Kurma, Lord Nrsimha, Narayan, Vishnu, unlimited Vaikunthas are there, unlimited spiritual forms of the Lord are manifest, and they all came together in the form of Lord Krishna, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. The supreme, original personality of God himself appeared 5,000 years ago to reestablish religious principles and to give love to his devotees. And so he personally exhibited by his behavior the love between Mother Yashoda and the cowherd boys and all the various residents of Vrindavan is very special because it's like a replica of what goes on in the spiritual world. But those who are covered by the ego, by envy, jealousy, and all the desire for personal gratification, we might think that, oh, I'm religious, I go to church or I go to temple, and I give my tidings, we do our mantras, we do our nice activities. This is good, it's a start. But here Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, after arranging for the battle of Kurukshetra to kill the demoniac kings who are not Rajarshis, who are not giving guidance to the people in general, how to develop their love for God. Because of all the unlimited living beings, only in human does one have the God-gifted intelligence to contemplate and ask, who am I? Why am I here in this world? How do I achieve eternal happiness? What is my destination in life? If you ask people, what is your goal? I want to become a scientist. I want to become an astronaut. I want to, I don't know what people feel. They think that this one lifetime is the all in all. That let me just live my life. I have my family. I have my identity as my nation. This bodily identification is like chasing the carrot, the donkey chasing the carrot in the desert until it dies. Because for one who is living in this material world and trying to enjoy gratification, the family is like a prison. And the mind and senses take full control of motivating us to perform various activities, how to become happy. That means working hard. I don't know if you've seen sometimes a horse or a donkey who are working very hard, they have foam in the mouth. And even wealthy people, they sometimes eat very meagerly, a few dry bread chapatis. They have millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, but they're driven by this desire to accumulate wealth for me, for my children, my grandchildren, my country, my dynasty. So all this illusion, but unfortunately, people have no hope because they're not either fortunate enough or desirous to hear the absolute truth. So Krishna appeared in a very unique time, but then again, it came time for the Lord's incarnation again as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya, who is non-different, he's Krishna himself, appeared with Lord Nityananda. He sent Advaitacharya, he sent Sachimata, he sent all the associates for his Sankirtan mission. So this is the blessing of Krishna, that in a mood of great compassion, seeing that this is a degraded age, we're living in what we call Kali Yuga, and we can see it. We can see the sufferings that are going on. Somebody was giving some historical reference. We think we have it bad, but somebody who was born in, say, 1900, then immediately came the First World War. Then there's a huge pandemic in 1920 that killed millions, 65 million people. They're all wearing masks, like all of us. It's like a replica of what's going on now. And then the Second World War, then the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. So people, and then the Great Depression. So material world is a place of suffering. Dukkhalayam shashvatam. It's a temporary place, full of misery and full of suffering. Just like when you're being dunked in the water, if you're a prisoner, sometimes they bind someone and dunk them in the water until he cannot breathe. Then for a moment, they take him out of the water and he's gasping for air. He thinks, what happiness, what content, I'm so happy now. But the very next moment, again, he's dunked in the water. So we should see that this human life that we've been gifted with by Krishna is our chance, our opportunity to get out of the cycle of birth and death. We sing every morning, It's like a forest fire. If you're stuck in a forest fire, you're going to burn. But the spiritual master, Lord Brahmā is considered the original spiritual master. Of course, Krishna is the original spiritual master. Lord Nityananda and Balarama are the original spiritual master. So Krishna, he expands himself. Lord Balarama is Krishna. Srimati Radharani is Krishna. All the Gopas are Krishna. So you think, well, Krishna, he's expanding himself and he's having relationships with himself. We're all little parts of Krishna. Like Krishna's a great fire, and all the sparks are emanating from the fire. So the spark is non-different than the fire. But we're tiny, but we have the same qualities as Krishna, not the same quantity. So when Krishna comes here, he exhibits pastimes, eternal pastimes, to attract us back to the spiritual kingdom, attract us to give up our ideas of false happiness, of a comfortable home, family. Not that we neglect, we engage the family in hearing about Krishna. We don't waste our time just reading the bunch of newspapers. As Prabhupada said, there was, especially years before the internet came, newspapers was a must. If you didn't get your morning newspaper, you felt like you felt really deprived. I need to know what is going on in the world: birth, old age, disease, and death, and suffering. Usually, news rarely means good news. They want to know about how many people are dying in the massive shootings and the different struggle and suffering and the disease of material existence. But we're not just speaking in a way to invoke fear, but that fear is there for everyone who's in darkness. If you're in a dark room and you see something on the ground that looks like a snake, a venomous snake, naturally fear will arise. But if the light is turned on, you see, oh, it's just a rope, then the fear dissipated. The fear is gone because although snake does exist, the rope exists, but because of being in darkness, you misunderstand the object. So living in ignorance, Om ajānatāṁ chakshurumilitam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We're praying to the spiritual master. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. Doesn't matter if you were Einstein, a great professor with hundreds of PhDs. When you're dead, you're packed into the womb again. You come out again, depending on your karma. You might have good fortune to be born in a good family, a Brahmā family, but still that ignorance is covering us. That lust, anger, greed, all these are perverted reflections of our pure love of God mixed within this material world. Like when the rain is coming, it's very clear, very transparent. But when it hits the ground, the mud, it's muddy. So our mind and intelligence has become muddy, dirty, due to association with the modes of material nature, with trying to satisfy our desires without proper guidance. Just like if you're a diseased person and you go to the medical shop and you think, well, this is a nice looking pill box, you start taking randomly without guidance or knowledge a variety of medicines, you're not going to help yourself get better. You'll probably kill yourself much quicker. So the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, is empowered by the entire Guru Parampara. Who else? I mean, who knows Sanskrit to the point where they're going to study all the revealed scriptures? As the Goswamis, less than 500 years ago, the top individuals are scrutinizingly studying all the religions, the scriptures, the books of philosophy and self-realization, and boiling it down to a very nice bhurti, meaning the essence of all knowledge, the essence of all philosophy, psychology, the pursuit of self-realization, and giving it in such a way, understanding the temperament, the mentality of the people, the time, place, and circumstance is very important. Srila Prabhupada arrived in America and just observing the landscape, observing the people. When he was first in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania, they were inviting educated persons, and Prabhupada was examining, was feeling out, as they say, or understanding the mentality of the persons during that time, place, and circumstance. Not that he changed the philosophy, he gave the philosophy very, very direct, as it was given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was given by Krishna himself in the form of Vyasadeva, Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna Das Kaviraj, Chaitanya Charitamrita, all the Vedic literatures. They call this Amala Purana, the essence of all scripture, the essence of all teachings. I know religionists around the world like to believe that, oh, my religion's the best. But real religion means developing our love for God. So scientifically, philosophically, in a scholarly way, for those who are wanting to see that, well, how do we know that Krishna consciousness is for real? How do we really know that we're not being misled or blindly following some charismatic leader who's telling us to chant Hare Krishna? So Prabhupada, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, use your logic, use your reason. So apply yourself in this way. Don't waste your time reading the newspaper or hearing about all the worldly activities about the temporary, ignorant, conditioned souls. We have limited energy and limited time in this bodily existence. So if we utilize our head to bow down to the Lord, our legs to carry us to the temple when it's not in lockdown, our hands to dress the deities and make offerings to the Lord, or play the mridanga, kartals, our voice to sing the glories of Krishna, Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna is personally present in his sound vibration. So we are the most fortunate. Just like Lord Brahmā was feeling, Nanda Maharaj is so fortunate. Mother Yashoda, the cowherd boys, all the residents of Vrindavan are so fortunate that you've taken birth in this Brajabhumi, Vrindavan. And so Brahmā did not feel qualified to take birth. It may be somewhere on the outside, a lump of grass. Maybe the devotees will step on me and I'll be benefited by the... So you could see the depth of appreciation that Lord Brahmā was having for Krishna and his associates, and how much glorification. The whole chapter, Lord Brahmā is glorifying Krishna's magnanimous power. What did Arjuna say? Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramantvam, Purisham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adideva, Jambudu. He's glorifying Krishna. You're the supreme personality. You're the origin of everything. So this is the point that every page of Srimad Bhagavatam is a medicine that will help us take that darkness, that ignorance, that covering. Just like the cloud, you cannot see the sun. When the cloud disperses, the sun shines through. So this eternal knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. We have a relationship with Krishna. He's a person. We're persons. And this loving relationship that everyone's looking for in this world, but being misguided by the temporary allurement of the senses and the mind and the false ego. How do we come to the point of reality and awakening our true spiritual ego? By hearing Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. It'll strengthen our ability to be regulated, because this is the very beginning of spiritual life. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jiva vegam, udana vegam. That controlling the tongue, controlling the belly, the genitals, it all comes by a systematic process. Srila Prabhupada and the Goswamis have given us this deity worship, have given us cleansing the temple, making offerings to the Lord, taking prasadam, the association of devotees, meaning that we're all together striving to awaken that love for Krishna. And it's something that you'll see within yourself, that by applying or following the method, it works. I've told this story before. In Miami, we had some nice book distributors. Dharma Prana and his good wife, Karma Karna from Chicago. They were some of the best big book distributors. So at that time, in the 70s, we were doing Back to Godhead magazines in the streets, airports, and various places, book distribution, because we want to also give this opportunity to the conditioned souls. So we didn't know how to start the big book distribution. So he gave, Dharmaprana gave a very nice class, and I said, well, you know, do some role playing. I recorded it. And by repeating the same mantras in the same mood, I saw, wow, it works. People are taking books. And it just seemed that if we very carefully listen to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, if we genuinely want to make spiritual advancement, you know, you take shelter in the ashram, take shelter of coming and being with the devotees, then you'll see that the effect of chanting Krishna's name, the effect of hearing this Vedic literature will give you that enthusiasm that's required and the determination that we need, that yes, I'll go to Mangal Arati. It takes determination. You know, because then sometimes, oh, it's getting late, that's okay, I'll get up. And, you know, you need determination to follow the regular principles, to get up early for the Mangal Arati, worship the deities, worship the Guru, worship Srimati Tulsi Devi, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear the Bhagavatam class in the association of devotees. These are all very, very powerful methods. It's not just somebody's concocted ideas. This is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. This is how you remember Krishna, by hearing, chanting, and following the order of our spiritual master. And what pleases our spiritual master most is that we become Krishna conscious. And the way to become Krishna conscious is seriously chanting Krishna's name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And be determined. Start from the beginning of Bhagavatam and read it out loud, hear it, go through it. Beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrita, beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Take it as a serious project, and then Krishna will give us that power. Krishna will give us the intelligence. Sarvasya chaham hridisana vishto matat smriti jnanam aboharam cha. Krishna is in every atom of the universe. Everything is manifested. He is the universes. He's the planets and the air in between. But also in the form of Paramatma, He's in our heart. And He's the witness. Just like if somebody's acting nicely, you're witnessing. If somebody's acting in a bad way, we're witnessing. But if we have that desire, Krishna gives the intelligence to remember Him. But if we want to stay in the illusion of the material world, Krishna allows that. Yes, you are that body. This is your family. This is your nation. Go fight. Everybody wants to fight for their nation, and you want to work hard your whole life. I need to take care of my family. We do need to take care of family. But our real family is Krishna in the spiritual kingdom. Vrindavan. Now you're home. This is your home. Prabhupada, how many places has said, go back home, back to Godhead. You can do it in one lifetime. When we see all that dirt, you think, oh, so much dirt to clean up. How am I going to get rid of all that? All the desires and my inabilities, my handicaps. Just think of Krishnadas Kaviraj, who was told by Lord Nityananda that you leave your home now. There was some disagreement because of disrespect to Lord Nityananda ultimately. And you go to Vrindavan. And so Krishnadas Kaviraj was saying, but I'm old, my hands are shaking, I can't see, I can't read, I can't hear properly. But he was given the task of writing the most glorious spiritual literature, Chaitanya Charitamrita, about the magnificent pastime of the Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, the most merciful incarnation of Krishna Balaram, and the Sankirtan mission, and also the confidential reasons why the Lord appeared to try to understand that Krishna has great love for Srimati Radharani, but her love for Krishna is a million times more. So Krishna's trying to figure out why does Radharani love me, or all the gopis. So Krishna, it's a more confidential reason. appears to start to initiate the religion or the process of the Nam Sankirtan, the chanting of the Lord's holy name, and also to, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, to experience what is this unique love that she's experiencing for Krishna. Because Krishna could not, in the male body, experience what is that. So even though he was, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had the sentiment of Srimati Radharani. So we're not jumping or imitating, but we have to understand that the pleasures of this world are very temporary and they're fleeting. They'll be gone. Your wealth will be gone. Your family will be gone. Your reputation, everything will be finished. You go outside, a rickshaw crushes you. I don't think those rickshaw drivers have licenses. But it's a very, very dangerous place. There's danger at every step in this world. You can even slip a banana peel and break your neck. Okay? So we're not saying that everyone goes through the whole process: birth, growth, development, maturity, reproduction, dwindling, and then vanishing. Death. Death for the covering, for the soul is eternal, ever existing. So we need to focus on developing that soul, the consciousness. It's already developed, but uncovering it by chanting and hearing from the association of devotees. So we'll hear more prayers. Lord Brahmā is just exposing the ignorance of the conditioned souls and glorifying that Krishna, he's real. The demigods are real. The planets, everything is, we can, in our own way, try to negate, it's all just by chance happening. That's such a childish and foolish conclusion when you see the complexities of even of our own material body, but to speak of how the universe is functioning and the seasonal changes and the varieties of development and growth and the personal touch that Krishna's giving everything such minute detail. Every flower, every fruit, everything that's produced by the Lord has so much variety and so much thought process. It's all personal. So we should have full faith. Strengthen the faith. Srila Prabhupada ki. We have a few minutes for questions. Preacher Prabhu.
So, as you said, there is no solution to the problems of the world. It's utterly great, and the only thing, we know that, the only solution to the suffering of the material world is to chant the holy name. There's an example at Brahmā. One time he was asked by an Indian man, Swamiji, can you read my hands?
Can you read my hand?
Yeah. Can you read my hands? The Prophet said, yes, give me your hand. Okay. The Prophet looked at his hand and said, all bad.
All bad.
What do you see in my hand? The Prophet said, I see Janma Mritu Jaragati. Old age, disease, and death in your hand.
What does he see?
Huh?
What does he see?
Old age, disease, and death.
Oh, old age, disease, and death.
And then Prabhupada, but if you take your hands and you stand in front of the deities, and all your lines will change. That's the truth, the simple truth. Prabhupada said in such simple ways. He explains this whole Siddhanta. And if you just clap our hands in front of the, all the lines will change forever. Everything will change simply by this process of hearing and chanting.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
That was a good one. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for this nice class. Whenever we read or hear the prayers of great devotees like Brahmā, there's always three things which I observe. One is appreciation, and second is asking forgiveness, and third is asking something. So for me, like the last two things are easy, asking for forgiveness because it's not a benefit, and asking something again is easy. But appreciation is very difficult, like how to appreciate Lord in a right spirit, because I mean He's only Lord. So how it feels like buttering when we are appreciating Lord. I don't know, it's like how to appreciate the Lord and the devotees. It's very difficult.
So Prabhuji is giving the example that we hear a lot of prayers, and generally in our prayers we're appreciating the Lord and sometimes asking for forgiveness for not fully appreciating, and then sometimes asking that maybe it can take birth as a clump of grass, but there are many examples of Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, that although there may have been some apparent desire in the beginning, they were fully satisfied by being with Krishna, but generally the devotees or the prayers ended with a mood of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So to either get, how can people get the association of devotees? How can we free the suffering of others? Because naturally the devotee becomes compassionate. So the prayers are beautiful, and they're not like motivated. Well, now that I pray to you, can I get my Mercedes-Benz now? And can I get my, fill up my bank account? By the way, I'll send you the routing number of my bank account. You can maybe fluff it up a little. But appreciation and gratitude will come the more and more we see how we're tiny little servants. This is our constitutional position. We're servants of the Lord, but in a very intimate, loving way. It's not like a slavery or being in a degraded position, I'm a servant. But it's a very blissful, Krishna, out of love for every single living entity, He feels obligated to come again and again and again and give His teachings again and again, send His representatives again and again, and that all the apparently pure devotees who are in relation to Krishna may appear to be covered and awakened to Krishna consciousness, and then beautiful prayers are emanating. So the more we hear these prayers, the more our appreciation will grow. And we'll see that the end result is that we just want to serve Krishna in a pure-hearted way and give others an opportunity to serve Krishna out of love and compassion. Make Krishna happy. Anyone else? Oh, yes, Prabhuji.
As you were saying, Prabhupada said that we have to go back to God. So everyone who is practicing in Krishna consciousness, that is guaranteed they will go back to God.
Anyone who's practicing Krishna consciousness? Yes, Krishna consciousness means that you're actually awakening your love for Krishna. Then you go back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. But it's not a cheap process. Like if you want to accomplish anything in this world, it takes sacrifice, it takes determination, enthusiasm. You need to follow a teacher, guidance. So being Krishna conscious means that I've awakened my understanding. I'm a servant of the Lord, and you actually get a taste. You relish hearing about Krishna. You relish sitting with the devotees, and more, I want to hear more and more. You have to be very advanced to sit and listen and hear the Lord's pastime, or to chant the holy name, like Haridas Thakur and many great Vaishnavas. Not that we could imitate, but being Krishna conscious, you go back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. That's the ultimate objective.